Welcome to the Monday, May 4th, 2026 edition of the Lake Forest City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Certainly. Honorable Mayor Tack.
Here.
Alderman Novit.
Here.
Alderman Clements.
Here.
Alderman Notes.
Here.
Alderman Powers.
Here.
Alderman Burt.
Here.
Alderman Bothfeld is absent. Alderman Weber.
Here.
Alderman Walder.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very, very good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
See? All right, good evening. First item on the agenda is comments by mayor, and we'd like to start with what is essentially a liquor license request, but really a new business proposal. And so for this, I'd like to ask Joe Krisick to come up to the dais and give us a description of his ideas and plans.
Push.
Nope,
Green light.
push it again.
Gotcha.
There.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, City Council. Thank you for having me here today. My wife and I own Elk Juice, which is the smoothie shop on Bank Lane, or faces Bank Lane, but is within the arcade building. And we've owned it for a few years now. And what we have started to learn is that over the course of the last few years, that essentially with juice and smoothies and acai bowls, it would be a great addition to have coffee and create what's known as like an all-day cafe concept, but then to also utilize our space throughout the evening and offer wine and cocktails and small bites, kind of like a little aperitivo, if you will. With all that being said, we have a newly renovated Bank Lane, which gives a bit of a feel towards Europe, almost as if you were in Copenhagen or on the streets of Paris. But we would love to create a very similar concept where we put tables outside, obviously weather permitting, but to then be able to serve guests on the streets. And with all of that, if we could also create sort of like a closure of the road, there are I believe they're called ballards.
Bollards?
Bollards that come out of the ground to close off the road from cars. And then once the evening wraps up, we would bring in all the tables and chairs and look forward to the next day. But yeah.
So did you have any other things to present or just the concept?
Right now, just the concept.
Okay.
There were some slides that I had, but I didn't mail that in for the agenda. I don't know if that got added. But it was just some visual designs of sort of the aesthetic that we were going for. What we want to do is create a space where everyone can just come hang out after work, have a glass of wine, relax, and maybe they're going off to dinner afterwards. But at the end of the day, it's just a bit more of a place to like relax and enjoy your night. And yeah.
Very good. Are there any comments or questions for Joe relative to the business proposal or the request for a liquor license? Okay, Alderman Novit.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
When do you anticipate starting?
Well, if this passes today, I feel that within a month's time, we can have the staff hired, trained, have a bit of a change in our current menu, and then everything that comes along with that. But around then.
Are there any other ordinances that need to be updated or passed other than the liquor license to get this thing up and running? Is there more to it?
Something?
Joe and I are actually meeting on Wednesday
to talk about how we can involve other business owners and other property owners along Bank Lane, and certainly talk about it from an operational standpoint. On Sunday, we did install the bollards. They're not easy to install or easy to remove. They're about 700 pounds each, but they will stop a vehicle. So there's certainly some planning to do, but this was always the intention when we designed Bank Lane to make it a convertible street. So we need to work out the details, but we're on it.
Thank you.
Yes, Alderman Clemmons?
Would you be using the same space, or are you going to need additional space?
No, for the interior, we'll be using our space that we have now. And then, given the summer months, we'd love to use sort of Bank Lane for what we can.
Other comments? Okay, Alderman Weber.
Hi, Joe. Great to see you. I was just going to share my enthusiasm for you continuing to kind of revolutionize and evolve your business to meet the needs of our community, as well as take advantage of the wonderful infrastructure that we've created with the addition of the Bank Lane pavers and the ability to close it off. So congrats and good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
Anything else? Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Item 2 is consideration of actions related to the previously approved senior cottages development on the northwest corner of Everett and Telegraph Roads, which includes an increase in the contribution from the city's housing trust fund conditioned upon related actions, and authorization to sign a donation agreement documenting the city council's previous approval of donating 2.23 acres of land. This item will be presented by Kathy Cerniak, as well as former Mayor Donald Schoenheider, Chairman of the Housing Trust Fund Board.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This project is not new, although it may sound new to many of you. This project has been on the books for probably 10 years. Early last week, an opportunity dropped in our lap. IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, notified us that they have about $3 million in tax credits available. Originally, we anticipated 5 years ago that we would have tax credits to support this project. Those evaporated, as did other grants. So tonight, we are asking you for support so that we can strengthen our application, which was due last Friday. We did submit an application because we just heard about this the first of the week. But we want to be able to really show IDA that there's tremendous continued local support for this. So we're asking for 2 actions tonight. One, that you conditionally approve an increase in the funds contributed to the project from the Housing Trust Fund, and 2, that you authorize the mayor to sign a land donation agreement. The council has previously approved the donation of land, and we went through the process of declaring it surplus. It's the 2.3 acres on the northwest corner of Telegraph and Everett Road. So tonight, or as of late last week, we see a possible path forward with this project, which is really exciting because it's been frustrating and stalled for a very long time. So just a very brief history. On a night much like this in 1999, after the first session, then Alderman Tom Trop stepped down from the dais, and in the second session stood right here and said, I'm going to do something about the lack of senior housing in our community. And what Tom put together, and I believe there's some people in the audience who are part of that, was a local initiative. And through that initiative, 5 senior cottages were constructed on the north side of Conway Road, just west of the railroad tracks. The city donated land for that project. There were in-kind contributions of labor, of materials. Those cottages were constructed in 2001 and have been tremendously successful. People move in and they don't move out. Income qualified seniors move in. They have stood the test of time. We learned some things from those cottages, like don't put the water heater in a place where you can't replace it without taking the wall out. We've learned from those things. After that, the city council took a number of actions to further commit to being sure that diversity in housing continued in this community. Historically, you had neighborhoods like South Park, neighborhoods by the high school that were historically affordable homes. We've seen some of those lost through demolitions and the building of homes that are 2, 3, 4 times as large. In 2003 and 2005, the City Council adopted a housing plan, established or approved a resolution in support of affordable housing, and in 2006, the Housing Trust Fund was established. That Housing Trust Fund can only be used to support affordable housing initiatives. It cannot be used for other capital projects. It cannot be used for operational support. It can only be used for affordable housing initiatives. In 2019, the council voiced support for additional senior cottages, and we looked for a site. We spent a lot of time looking at Grove campus, probably too much time. We understood that after a lot of work and some expenditures that the wetlands on that site simply made it too difficult, along with extending services and addressing the grade issues. After that, we did find a site, the site that's been approved, northwest corner of Everett and Telegraph Road. And in 2001, both the Plan Commission and Building Review Board held a number of public hearings and eventually forwarded recommendations to the City Council. City Council in 2000 and I believe it might have been 2023, I might have that date wrong, approved the recommendations of the Building Review Board and the Plan Commission, approved the donation of land, and approved a contribution of $350,000 from the Housing Trust Fund. Since then, the plan we had put together relied substantially on state and federal funding. That funding all but evaporated until last week. And construction costs increased significantly. We have been working with many groups, the Senior Citizen Foundation, Community Partners for Affordable Housing, to find a way to move this project forward. Work to date on this particular site, as I mentioned, the site was selected and approved by the City Council. Wetland delineation, there's a small portion of the site that is wetlands. That work has been done. Engineering plans have been completed. As I mentioned, architectural and site reviews have been completed. Land donation was committed from the City Council. The funding in the amount of $800,000 is available, $350,000 from the city's Housing Trust Fund and $450,000 from the Senior Citizen Foundation. In addition, as we stand here today, we do have confirmation that a grant from Lake County will also provide funding in part for this project. The site, again, northwest corner, right by the train station. The 5 successful senior cottages are just to the north. The approved plans for the senior cottages, Telegraph Road, Everett Road, each of these buildings are duplexes. A total of 12 units is the goal and was always the plan. The opportunity before us, before you tonight, is to take action, to take advantage of state and federal funds that appear to potentially be available, but only if we act quickly. The estimated value of the tax credits right now are selling for about 91, 92 cents on the dollar. Perhaps we can bump that up a little from if we have discussions with certain banks. But we expect the value of the tax credits, if we are awarded, to be between $2.3 and $2.4 million. The Lake County grant, which I mentioned, your action tonight could strengthen our application, and we will move quickly to let Ida know tomorrow what action you've taken. The Housing Trust Fund currently is healthy, $2.7 million. And again, those funds can only be used for affordable housing initiatives. In the past, we've used that fund to partner with community partners, and we have acquired 10 small homes in all areas of the community. Those homes often were the subject of code enforcement issues. We purchased those. Those homes are in a land trust model and available to income-qualified families. They have met the needs as targeted in the council's housing plan. Local families who have gone through transition, local employees, coaches at the college, employees at the high school, children who grew up here, who moved away, who want to come back. So those homes exactly fulfill those goals established. With today's housing market, that program really isn't an effective use of the dollars in the tax fund. We were able to contribute about $150,000 per home and acquire those homes for about $350 with community partners. Construction costs are increasing. They're never going to be cheaper. Full build out of the infrastructure is possible with this project. We're at over $5 million to build out all of the infrastructure. It doesn't make sense, this is a small project, to build half that infrastructure. So we wanted to be sure to build all, and the $5 million cost builds out 6 units, but we believe with your action, with the additional money, we can increase that and motivate partners to step in and help us ideally build out those whole 12 units. So we don't have to remobilize, come back, build another 1 or 2 buildings. Motivate other partners, and most importantly, provide housing options for seniors. We know that there is a demand. About 27% of our population are age 65 and older. We know there's a waiting list for units. It depends who you talk to. Community partners will tell you that there's a waiting list of about 100 people. Now, certainly not all Lake Forest residents. For our senior cottages, Lake Forest residents and seniors of families who live in Lake Forest have first priority for those units. Other pieces of the puzzle. As I mentioned, if we are awarded the tax credits, the burden will be on us to see where we can get the highest value for those tax credits. Lake Forest, Lake Bluff Senior Citizens Foundation, you have some representatives here tonight. They've indicated a willingness to have discussions about increasing their contribution over and above the $450,000. We may be able to work through some reduction in lending costs. We continue to have conversations with the Village of Lake Bluff, so we hope there'll be a contribution there. We continue to value engineer this project. We spend a lot of time doing that, but we'll certainly continue to do that. And explore the opportunity for in-kind labor or materials. Next steps, depending on your action tonight, immediately augment the application to IDA. Await the award of tax credit decisions, which is expected at the end of June. Assuming that we are successful in getting those tax credits, pursue additional partners aggressively, go through the permitting process, which we handle locally, and hopefully have a groundbreaking finally, after many, many years of discussing this project, next spring. Council action tonight, we're asking for a conditional commitment of a total of $1 million from the Housing Trust Fund. We won't promise you that we'll never come back. If we get partners and get close to that 12 unit, we may come back because, again, the money in that fund isn't going to be used anywhere else. And second, authorize the mayor to sign conditionally a land donation agreement. And with that, I'd like to invite Don Schoenharder, former mayor and chairman of the Housing Trust. Thank you,
Don. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and if I may take 30 seconds, congratulate and thank Alderman Weber and Alderman Notes for your service. I know how much time and what a big commitment it is to serve on the council, and you've done an amazing job. You've made a tremendous impact on this community, both of you have. So thank you on behalf of the community for doing what you've done.
Thank you, Don.
Just to follow up with Kathy's comments, just very quickly, number one, you know, we all talk about, and we talked about the impact that you two have made and the council's made. I think this project, the community should be incredibly proud of what we've done with the Housing Trust Fund and with the Housing Trust Fund dollars. Kathy mentioned the senior cottages, the 10 scattered site projects. Those are exactly the kinds of things that these dollars were intended for. And there are so few communities today that really have these kinds of programs and these kinds of projects. Kathy's done an amazing job of finding that little crease like she always does in the timing. And when she called a couple of weeks ago and said, I think there's a window here and we need to make sure we try to capitalize on it. This is an opportunity for us as a community to, again, make a commitment to this project. Kathy mentioned it does seem like it's been a long time, and it has been a long time that we've been talking about this. The chance that we could actually make this a reality and make it come to fruition is very exciting. We all talk about what we do and how important it is to give back, and each one of you understand that more than anyone. This is an opportunity for all of us as a community to give back to our seniors, to give back to residents who've been here a very long time, who want to stay here, whose families want to stay here. And the impact we could have with this project will be generational. And we should all feel very excited and very proud of the opportunity to move it forward. So as Kathy said, we're not there yet. I'm confident we will find a way to get there, to get all the 12 cottages built. And I think this is an opportunity for us to really make an exciting statement. And we do hope that in spring of '27, we'll be breaking ground on a project that will have a tremendous impact for this community for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to comment or ask questions of either Kathy or Chairman Schoenheider?
I just wanted to appreciate what all is happening here. I was the council liaison to the senior board in my first year on city council, and we were talking about it in 2022. And it is so great to be at this point, as Gail Stringer-Wayne well knows. It is so great to be at this point where we can actually come to fruition on this project. I think it's wonderful. So thank you guys for getting it done, or getting us to this point.
Others? Alderman Walther?
Thank you. I'm very much in favor of the project, and I'd like to use this opportunity to ask two questions that would facilitate my education around this subject. The trust, obviously there's going to be a drawdown if we're successful. And so are there plans to continue funding the trust on a go-forward basis? And you might want to just briefly comment on that.
The Housing Trust Fund is funded by demolition taxes. In recent years, we've had an increase in home demolitions. Historically, we've had about 8 demolitions a year. The demolition tax is $12,000. $6,000 goes to capital projects and $6,000 goes into the Affordable Housing Fund. Not much. The other funding mechanism is our inclusionary housing ordinance. When the Laurel and Western Avenue development, now known as the Kelmscott development, was approved, the council felt that 15% of the total number of units as affordable might be too many. So the council required 12 of the apartments to be affordable in perpetuity, and I believe the contribution was about $600,000, a payment in lieu of the rest of the units. The most significant funding source has been on 2 occasions in past years. End of the year reserves, in part, have been transferred into this fund. So it really is the council's decision. We may have some additional multifamily developed. It's always better to get the affordable units as part of a development because, as we can see, it's tough to do these projects. But you're correct, there isn't a reliable, strong funding source, but it also can't be used for everyday projects.
Thank you.
Others?
No, that's good.
Okay. Alderman Levert.
Kathy, for seniors who are interested in this, how do they get on the wait list?
They contact community partners for affordable housing, and I can provide the direct contacts. Our current 5 senior cottages, for a while the city managed those and owned the land. We realized that we're not an expert in the affordable housing world. Community partners, we later transferred the land to community partners. They own, manage, qualify the tenants, unplug the toilets, whatever needs to be done. That would be the intention here as well.
Thank you.
Alderman Powers.
Thank you, Kathy and Don. I think it's a great project. I've kind of been watching it over the last 6 years as I got more involved in what we're doing locally. My question is, the state of Illinois and the tax credit seems kind of, they come up on us on the last minute after being dormant for 6-7 years. Now there's tax credits available. We had to submit an application. We're going to revise the application. What's the chance we see the actual 2.3 or $2.4 million?
I think it's important that IDA contacted us to make us aware of these tax credits. IDA has been a supporter of this project. Again, no guarantee, but an opportunity we just couldn't pass up. We'll know by the end of June. We're going to do everything we can, assuming the council does what it can tonight, and we will get them the strongest application. But you're right. It's been, the money's been there and then it's been gone, and that's been frustrating.
Okay, well, the least we can do is our part, and we'll see if they come through with theirs. So thank you.
Other comments or questions? Alderman Clemmons.
Don, how many bedrooms and how many square feet?
Kathy, do you know, I think they're, yeah, about 1,200 square feet, Alderman, and I think 1 to 2 bedrooms. Kind of a mix. And again, very similar, but Kathy said we learned a lot from the first 5 cottages we did, what worked, and we learned a lot what didn't work. And so I think with the help of community partners and some really good design team, we're going to make them even better than we did.
One other question, now that we're stepping forward, say we don't get the tax credit, could we move forward on like 6 units instead of 12?
I think, and we've talked about that a lot, and the trust has talked about it a lot, Alderman. I think if that were if the alternative were nothing, then I think the answer there is yes. But we're going to do whatever we can in the trust fund board and Kathy and her team to find the solution to get all 12 of them built. As Kathy mentioned, doing the infrastructure, we have to do all the infrastructure now. Costs are simply going to go up. And so the real ultimate goal is we want to get 12 of these done. And as Kathy mentioned, there are dozens of Lake Bluff, Lake Forest residents on the wait list right now. We want to be able to satisfy that. 6 is only the start. And so really the end goal is to try to get the 12 complete.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there other questions? No? Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on this matter at this time? Really? Okay. Well, thank you very much. All right. At this time, then, I would like the council to consider the matter in support of the senior cottages development on the northwest corner of Everett and Telegraph Roads, and with the expectation that community partners will join with the city toward the goal of supporting full build-out of the plan as previously approved. By motion, conditionally approve a contribution of up to $1 million from the city's housing trust fund, subject to the award of tax credits to the city by IDHA, and subject to concerted efforts to engage community partners to allow full build-out of the 12 cottages. The distribution of the funds will be subject to future council action, and by motion authorize the mayor to sign the land donation agreement documenting the city council's previous approval of the donation of land. Further council action is required prior to the actual transfer. And at this time, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
This would be a roll call vote.
Alderman Novit,
Aye.
Clements,
Aye.
Alderman Note,
Aye.
Alderman Powers,
Aye.
Alderman Levert,
Aye.
Alderman Weber,
Aye.
Alderman Walder.
Aye.
7 yeas, 0 nay, motion carries.
Look forward to discussing this again in about 2 months. All right, thank you very much. Excellent. At this time, we'll move on to comments by city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. Good evening. I have one brief item under my report. I'd like to invite Bob Shaw, a member of the city's library board, to the podium to provide a brief public service announcement regarding updates at the library.
Good evening, Mayor, Alderman, and the community as a whole. And I can't keep my mouth shut about a former subject. I was part of that meeting 27 years ago here, and part of that project, and this is so exciting. It's right around the corner from where I live in my ward, and we are really, really excited, a lot of us out there. At any rate, I'm here tonight as a member of the library board, and specifically to let you all know that our executive director, Ishwar, is resigning for retirement later this year. He's had a great 3+ years. In fact, he says it's the best 3+ years he's ever had in his long, illustrious, almost 45 years in the library world. He will continue leading the organization through the latter part of this year in all daily operations. The board has established a search committee and plans to formally commence search later this month. Garth Pearson and I, 2 trustees, will be leading that search. We've commenced a process of seeking input from the library staff. We've had one meeting with senior staff and another one coming up day after tomorrow. And we are also meeting with community members. That started late last week and will continue through much of this week as well. In the background, we're starting to prepare the job description and support materials, which will be augmented by feedback from these interviews we're doing right now. The announcement tonight is to inform you and seek in the community and seek any input you all have on candidates, criteria, any kinds of observations at all you might have. We're going to carry on this search activity while in parallel, we're going to continue the growth momentum we have right now, including 2 weeks from Thursday, a ribbon cutting for the patios. That's all going to get opened up later this month, just before Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend. May 21 is the exact date for that. But if you have any candidates, any ideas at all, feel free to contact Garth or me directly, or we have a new email, which will be in effect tomorrow. Search director, sorry, Jason. Director search at lakeforestlibrary.org. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them now.
Any questions for Mr. Shaw? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my report.
All right, the next item is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on non-agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to address the council at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports, of which there are none this evening. Next item is items for omnibus vote consideration. There are 11 items this evening. As always, if there are any items you would like removed or taken separately, please let me know after I've completed reading the items. Item 1, approval of the April 20th, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. Item 2, approval of the check register for the period of March 28th through April 24th, 2026. Item 3, approval of an ordinance terminating Special Service Area 38, first reading and if desired by the City Council, final approval. Item 4, consideration of an ordinance amending the City of Lake Forest City Code regarding Class C2 and C3 liquor license, first reading and if appropriate, final approval. Item 5, approval of Benestar as a vendor for the city's Medicare supplement and Part D drug coverage for retirees and spouses, and waiver of the competitive bidding process per Administrative Directive 3-5, Section 6.1-1, an existing relationship. Item 6, approval of a 12-month renewal agreement with BCM1 Incorporated for SIP telecommunication services at an estimated expense of $34,100. Item 7, approval of purchase replacement recycle truck Curado can from EJ Equipment in the amount of $48,759. Item 8, approval of a purchase of a replacement street section 5-yard dump truck to JX Truck Center, the chassis, in the amount of $149,250, and Henderson Products dump body in the amount of $175,750 for a grand total cost of $325,000. Item 9, approval of purchase of 2 replacement water and sewer section vehicles to Curry Motors in the amount of $135,500, and the trade in of the current 2014 Chevy 3500 HD water and sewer section truck in the amount of $6,500 to Curry Motors. Item 10, consideration to waive the bidding process and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with CRSEM LLC for logistical operation services for the festival and fireworks event scheduled for July 4th, 2026 at Deer Path Park in an amount not to exceed $95,000. And finally, item 11, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Building Review Board for 710 Buena Road and 1760 Telegraph Road, first reading and if desired, final approval. Are there any items that the council would like removed or taken separately? Okay, hearing none. Can I ask for a motion to approve the omnibus items as presented?
So moved.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Mr. Baker, if I may, can we take item number 4, which is the liquor license as amended, the liquor license ordinance as amended, as the council received this afternoon?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Alderman Clements.
Aye.
Alderman Notes.
Aye.
Alderman Powers.
Aye.
Alderman Levert.
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Alderman Walther.
Aye.
Alderman Novit.
Aye.
7 yeas, 0 nay, motion carries.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is old business, of which there is none this evening, followed by new business, of which there is none this evening. And so at this time, we will turn the party over to Jason, and you'll start the process.
Sure, and I will try to keep my comments brief, but always a wonderful opportunity to say a few words on behalf of the city staff. And I'll start first with Alderman Notes. It's really been an incredible run. You're coming up on what's a pretty rare, almost 7-year tenure on the city council. Those don't happen very often, but I remember the day when you were chosen to step up. We had an unexpected vacancy with someone leaving the city council, and the fact that you did step up, I think, is fitting with the history that you've demonstrated here of giving back to the community. And I didn't know you back then. I was pretty new to the city myself, but I remember back then knowing that you had, where'd she go? Oh, the Kathy Zerniak stamp of approval, and that was all I ever needed to hear to know that you'd fit in quite well. And I think that reputation was well earned, given your experience on both the Building Review Board and the Zoning Board. And so tonight really is, I think, a celebration of almost 20 years, really, of service to this community. And one of the things that I will say is that throughout those years and through my experience with you, you've really personified selfless public service. Really, it's never been about you, and you've always been driven by wanting to leave Lake Forest better, to view decisions through long-term time horizons that are in the best interest of every resident in the community, not just being guided by loud voices. And your love for this city has always been apparent. In fact, we sometimes chuckle that we love seeing you bring your entire family to all of the ward meeting events that we have. And so even as you're stepping off, I hope Ward 2 meetings in the future will still be a bit of a Notes family reunion, because it's been wonderful to see. But also, and I think importantly, to just finalize my comments, you always have been an incredible supporter of the city staff in ways both big and small, and we appreciate you always having our back. We've felt that support. We're going to miss seeing you up here on the dais, but again, given your history, I'd like to think this won't be the end of your civic volunteerism. As I joked to you the other week, we're always looking for fresh blood on resident advisory groups, so we look forward to bringing you back into the fold in the future. But thank you on behalf of the staff for your service.
Thank you, Jason.
And then Alderman Weber, I'm going to get these both done and then turn it over to all of you. But it's been a wonderful 6 years working with you as well. And I think back to the beginning of your tenure, unceremoniously joining the council in the early depths of COVID, where for, I would say, at least a year, we were just meeting via Zoom, no in-person meeting, so had to get to know you a bit through a screen and on the phone or in person over 6 feet apart. That was not an easy way for you or for anyone to have to join the council, but you quickly found your voice and became a very strong leader amongst the group. And I think reflecting back on your tenure, what stands out the most to me is just your incredible level of engagement and willingness to raise your hand and say yes to everything. And I think the people in the room who know you know that extends far beyond just your time on the council, but it certainly was appropriate here. And not only were you willing to step up and accept anything that was asked of you, but you always did it with a remarkable optimism and positivity from leading key committees, either within the council or resident volunteer groups like Civic Beautification. You always had your trademark smile, even when there were some contentious moments. And one of the things I'll remember most about you for all of your accomplishments up here at the dais were really the small moments of leadership that I got to see when the cameras weren't on and you were doing some of your most meaningful work, whether it was bringing in Girl Scouts or Cub Scouts or other groups of students or even adults. It was really a privilege to watch your passion for inspiring the next generation on the importance and the virtues of volunteerism and public service. You really did lead by example. And again, your energy and passion, I think, were contagious to everyone who had the chance to work with you. So similar to Alderman Notes, I'm confident that this won't mark the last chapter in your story of volunteering on behalf of the city. But until the next time we get to work together, thank you on behalf of the staff for all your support and all you've done. And before I turn it over to the mayor then, we, as is tradition, have a few gifts for each of you. I'll start with you first, Alderman Notes. Come around. Whoops. Yeah, you come around the side. This customary got open in front of everyone.
Notes is there.
Eileen, you're up next. And with that, I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Okay. Many of you don't know, we had a little dinner the other night, at which time some of us gave our little speeches for Ted and Eileen. So I'm going to be very brief, but I don't want anybody to confuse my brevity for lack of appreciation of the time and service both of you have provided. I'll start with Ted because he's older. And along those lines, I think about Ted and it always comes, I always think of him as E.F. Hutton. Now, I don't know how many of you remember E.F. Hutton, but he was one of those things where when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And that's the way I think about Ted, because Ted doesn't say very much, at least in my 3 years. I'm not sure we got 10 minutes out of Ted, but the 10 minutes that he did give us were always thoughtful and pertinent to the topic under consideration and impactful. Ted has really in my mind, been a leader on the council as much by his demeanor as by what he says. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate that, because I think it's dictated quite a bit as to how successful the last 3 years have been on the city council. I think remarkably so, and I think you're a big part of that, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy.
And for Eileen, nobody will confuse Eileen with E.F. Hutton. Eileen tends to say what she thinks, and but again, you know, although it's perhaps different than Ted, it's always thoughtful, impactful, and well-intentioned, and it's really been you've been a tremendous leader through your activity on the council, I would say, as much as anything else. Really a terrific alderman. You know, I hope you have some more city work to do going forward. I'm not so sure your family is up for that, but you never know how that turns out. But again, like I said with Ted, you've been a leader for the last 3 years, and I think both of you, you know, came out of a very different environment, and in coming onto this council, I mean, much of what we've been able to do has been because of your demeanor and your approach, and I really appreciate that. It's made my life super easy. I haven't had to vote on anything in 3 years, so that's like really cool. So anyway, I appreciate both of you more than you'll ever know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. All right, did you have a sequence you wanted to follow? Okay, Alderman Clemmons, 3 minutes.
No, I need to use them all.
Just for Alderman notes first, and then we'll come.
Okay.
So you want me to, oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm always looking over my left shoulder at John and Ted back here.
Not me.
Well, right here. Ted, you've been a consummate gentleman. You've been a true gentleman. I want to thank you for how welcoming you were to us as new alderpersons back 2 years ago. And I also want to thank you for your commendable serving 22 years in city service. I think I got it right. I changed it from 21 because I just found out something. You served 3 years on the caucus, 3 terms ZBA, 3 terms Building Review Board, 3 terms on City Council, and 1/2 term on City Council. So congratulations. You're a role model for city service. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
I hate having to go after somebody who has been so eloquent already. So like Pete, I thoroughly, thoroughly thank you for being so welcoming when I joined. I didn't know you before I became a council member, and I'm so happy to have gotten to know you over these years. I've especially enjoyed serving with you on Public Works. As everybody has said, your demeanor, your professionalism, your dedication to doing it right has really been an inspiration. And you have truly inspired me to be better at this. And I thank you for that. And I like you, and I'll miss you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, well, I'm going to break the rules because I plan to say comments to both of you simultaneously, and for a very good reason. You both have helped us kind of, you know, truly understand what leadership is, and together, the example that you taught many of us as we were coming on council was not only impressive, but incredibly thoughtful. But my first comment's about stewardship. We often talk about trying to leave Lake Forest in a better place than when we got here. And you two, to go back 6 years and think of all the projects and the work that was invested to try to make that happen. And it's not only just to accomplish the task at hand. Your thoughtful input is always about, is this going to play 10 years from now, or is this going to play 20 years from now? So the decisions that we're making now, the money that we're investing now, needs to stand the test of time. And you both helped teach me that lesson, which is incredibly important and powerful. So thank you for that. The next is just pure leadership. You're both servant leaders. You are thoughtful, you are kind, you are considerate. Even when we don't agree, we have those phone conversations regularly about each of our different perspectives and hopefully working towards a true consensus for the right reason. And that's a learned skill that you guys have perfected over the last 6 years. And it's one that, you know, I've made this comment before, it is really the spirit of Lake Forest. It is the volunteerism spirit. You're both multi-generation volunteers. You choose to move back here after college. You choose to have your families raised here. You choose to stay here, and you've chosen to continue to invest in Lake Forest, which is, it's probably the most powerful example of stewardship and volunteerism that I know of. And then my last comment is thank you, because we've been able to become friends. We're always going to be friends. We're always going to be neighbors, and I hope that, you know, if there's anything that I can ever do for either of you going forward, that I'm certainly on your call list, because I'd be more than happy to support any way I can. So thank you for everything you've done for our community. Thank you what you've done for our council, and thank you for what you've done for me.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Well, Ted, the city of Lake Forest has been incredibly lucky to have you on city council. It's been a great 2 years serving with you. Your happy personality, along with thoughtful questions, comments, and insights, made working together a joy, and you will definitely be missed. So although our time together serving on city council is coming to a close, I am so happy that what started as community members working together has since developed into a friendship that will last for years to come. So thank you for your service, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your friendship.
Thank you, Alice.
I'll try to keep it short, Mayor. So a number of years ago, I was inspired by former Alderman Rushlack, and he always gave a top 10 list, and I always thought that was so creative. And so tonight I am going to share with you my top 10 lists in honor of Ted. And Ted, I'll give you a copy because it's really good. First and foremost, his integrity. Ted leaves with a steady, unwavering sense of principle that builds trust with staff, fellow council members, and with our residents. He brings a spirit of innovation to his work, always open to new ideas and thoughtful solutions. Ted leads with vision, understanding that decisions we make today shape the Lake Forest of tomorrow. He keeps the long view in focus, ensuring that our investments are thoughtful, strategic, and lasting. There is also a clear passion behind your work. Whether it's long-term planning or leveraging technology to improve efficiency, Ted's commitment has a meaningful impact on how the city operates, much to do with his chairmanship on Public Works. One of the qualities that defines Ted is his lifelong roots and commitment to tradition. His deep connection to this community, like me, gives him a unique perspective, one that honors the history and character of Lake Forest while thoughtfully guiding it forward. His communication style stands out. Clear, thoughtful, and respectful. He shares his perspective with purpose, provides guidance when needed, and just as importantly, listens to staff, colleagues, and residents. He values collaboration, recognizing that the best outcomes come from working together. When it comes to decision-making, Ted is both thoughtful and decisive. He carefully weighs complex issues, considers multiple perspectives, and then moves forward with clarity and conviction. At every turn, he shows respect for city staff, for residents, and for his fellow council members. That respect sets the tone for how work gets done. And finally, there is his sense of gratitude. Ted consistently acknowledges the efforts of those around him, especially the city staff, who make much of this work possible. It goes beyond courtesy. It genuinely reflects appreciation and leadership. Ted, it has truly been an honor and pleasure to serve alongside you.
You too, Eileen. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ted, as I reflect on our time together on council, I'm struck by the caring that you bring to each of our public works committees in particular. Just the caring about the staff that comprises the public works department, And I'm also highly motivated by your excitement around civil infrastructure. Like, oh, hey, there's another person who actually likes bridges and roadways.
Trucks.
And trucks too, right? Big trucks. But you mentioned it several times that you like to participate in those decisions because you understand the importance that civil infrastructure that brings quality of life to the residents of Lake Forest. And then I think you also reflect on civil infrastructure and its importance because it'll be here for 20, 40, 50, 60, even like some of our sewer lines over 100 years. And so the contribution you make today will be measured well beyond your years here on earth. I often describe you as our quiet alderman, and Mayor Tack kind of referenced that earlier. It's not because you had less to offer. Well, actually, quite the contrary. It's because you chose your moments to offer your thoughtful insights. And I've sat on this side of the dais and thought, when you spoke, why didn't we think of that? And you bring to the forefront the important things that need to be said on many of the issues that come before us. So in closing, I want to compliment you on your steady, thoughtful contributions to the council, and thank you for your service and for the quiet but very important way that you conduct yourself.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
All right, and now we'll move on to comment for Alderman Weber, starting with.
This is your life. Think back 10 years. You were vice president of the caucus with Peg Detterman, with Nancy Duffy, with Vince Sparrow, with Tad Walgreen, with Chris Collins. I don't know what you had Chris doing, but I'm sure he was in the executive team. You may also remember Ward 3, hecklers in Ward 3, to be named Ara Gashgarian, Nick Bothfeld, Tim Hender, and myself. I said also throughout the year, what an excellent job you did chairing the Finance Committee. Thank you for one more time for doing that. You exhibit at all times decorum. Your behavior, polite behavior in meetings is noted. You're very welcoming to people that come in and present. You make people feel good when they're here, even though they may be complaining about something. Finally, I want to thank you for your service to City Council and for publicly supporting caucus candidates when other members maybe didn't. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
For a job well done.
Thank you. Golly, another eloquent person to follow. Eileen, I've known you, I feel like I have known you forever. We served on caucus together. We were so flattered to be invited to your wedding. I'll never forget fireworks. It was beautiful. I've seen your boys, all of it. I feel like I know you in so many other ways than just here on City Council. But on City Council, your positivity is really what has always struck me. You receive everything with such grace. You have such beautiful posture, and you always have such a welcoming smile. It's lovely to sit here and participate with you in that way. I will miss you. I feel the same way with Ted. I love serving on ESC with you. I feel like we did some good work, got some good stuff started and finishing, and it's nice to it's nice to accomplish things when you're on City Council. It's nice to look back and say, we did this. It's really great. So thank you for setting that tone and for setting that example for me moving forward. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. And television, Lake Forest TV. That was great.
Eileen, we've served together 6 years. And while I had that head start of a couple months before COVID hit, certainly we have seen a lot from, again, not only the craziness of the city learning to how to function through COVID, to a city council that was 180 degrees different in terms of the composition and personalities from what we've enjoyed the last 3 years. And it has just been a real pleasure working alongside you all these years. You've done a fantastic job chairing finance. You know, Jed ran that committee for years and really, you know, set big shoes to fill. And you coming in and taking over for him really, you know, I talked about Katie coming in and not missing a step there, but every bit, you know, that relates to you and your involvement in helping shepherd that committee and the finance process of the city. Through it all, you've been a wonderful and steadying presence to our council. You've provided thoughtful perspectives and insights representing young families, as well as local businesses. And that's been a perspective that I think all of us on council have really appreciated hearing and getting as we deliberate whatever the topic might be. In any event, you know, although we didn't know each other before, and it's been a real joy getting to know Brian over, you know, all the myriad city-related functions that and your boys over the years. This is certainly not goodbye for you or any of you. Look forward to seeing you around town. Continue to be part of each other's lives in whatever way that is, and certainly as friends. So, thank you, Ellen.
Well, Eileen, little did I know when I first met you, along with your mom and dad, that I would have two incredible experiences. First, your father provided the most beautiful flowers for our wedding. And then, many years later, I'd have the opportunity to serve with you on Lake Forest City Council. Kind of amazing. These last 2 years, you've been the chairman of the Finance Committee, and like everyone else, we just are so grateful for the superb job that you've done in keeping the amazing record of our bond rating and sound financial standing. So thank you for that. During our time on City Council, I've learned that you are one busy person who never says no and always steps up when asked. You defined the term, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. That is you. Although our time together is coming to a close, I look forward to our continued friendship. So thank you for your service, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your friendship.
Thank you, Liz. So sweet of you.
I thought about doing the top 10 list because I'm like, she won't do one for herself. But at our ward meeting, I wrote down 10 words that described Eileen, and I shared them with the people that were at our ward meeting. And I'm going to pick 4 of those words this evening because those words define your service, but more than that, they define the inherent character that you bring to the council and that have made you so effective. So the first word is responsive, right? So Eileen is tremendously responsive to every request that she ever receives. And I thought, well, she's getting all the emails because she's the senior alderperson and she's listed first. No, that's not why she was getting all the emails. She was getting all the emails because she proved to every person in this community that when you ask her for something, she listens. Then she acts and she responds. The second word that I characterize you with is trustworthy. So colleagues and residents rely on Eileen because she approaches every task with an honest respect and follow through in order to help them make Lake Forest a better place. You're a closer, right? You get stuff done, and that's why people continue to come to you. The next word I'd like to characterize you with is dedication, right? Your dedication is unmistakable. We've all commented about it here this evening. You take time to consider all the points of view that are brought forward. You reflect on them, and then you deliver results, not promises. You show up prepared all the time, never unprepared. You're engaged and fully committed for the public good. And lastly, I think, Eileen, your number one superpower is family, right? So you bring the same devotion, discipline, and heart to your work here that you bring to the people you love most. You treat the city like an extension of your own family, always wanting the very best for us and them. You live each day striving to be the best mom, the best wife, the best friend, and fortunately for us, the best council member. Eileen, we will miss you, but like your family, you will always have a place here, especially here on the dais. But until then, enjoy the boys, Brian, and all your personal pursuits.
Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, Ted, you're
Mayor,
up.
I'm going to double my speaking time on 6.5 years here. First, as Jason touched on, I'd like to acknowledge I'm speaking to staff, but also the residents. I'd like to acknowledge the phenomenal staff that the city has and the work that you all do every day taking care of the residents here in town. You're there for us day and night, 7 days a week, in all weather, handling emergencies, broken water mains, pulling college kids out of mud pits in the ravine, and keeping our streets clear. Being on council has afforded me this tremendous opportunity to see the inner workings of the city and get to know so many of you both professionally and personally. When I'm asked what I'll miss most of my time on council, it would be the time that we've all had together. And this is certainly not goodbye, and I will absolutely look forward to seeing you around the streets. For our residents, I'd like to thank everyone in the Second Ward who's entrusted me to represent them the last 6.5 years. It's been an honor serving as your voice and advocate on council. While we haven't been able to necessarily address or resolve every concern that came to me, I can assure you that every consideration was given by me, my colleagues on council, and staff to try as best as we could. Being involved with city committees and boards for much of the past 27 years since moving back to Lake Forest, it's been some of the most rewarding work one could hope to be involved with. And I urge everyone who wants to have a voice in town and to be a part of the process to reach out to caucus and get involved in any of the many boards and commissions that the city relies on every day to function effectively and has a constant need to keep backfilling as volunteer term limits are met. Caucus are our friends and neighbors, putting in tireless hours representing every resident, vetting candidates to ensure that those ultimately selected to represent us throughout all our boards and commissions are serving without bias or agenda. They play an invaluable and irreplaceable role and deserve our full support. Over the past 6.5 years, the biggest threat I've seen to our community is unchecked social media that spreads rampant misinformation quickly and really stirs people up. My message to everybody who's listening, I cannot emphasize enough that if you have any questions or concerns about anything going on around town, your alderman should be your first call. You've elected us to council to be your eyes and ears, and if we don't have an answer for you, we'll get it. To caucus, having started my involvement in city affairs, joining caucus's Ward 2 committee back in 1999, I cannot begin to express my deep appreciation for your confidence and support over all these years, including your endorsement of me on ZBA, BRB, and here on council. You continue to earn and have my full support. Each and every community member serving on caucus has my deepest gratitude and appreciation for the countless hours that you spend to ensure that the city's myriad of boards and commissions that support staff and city council function effectively. For my fellow council members, it has truly been a pleasure serving alongside of you. As 8 independent minds, we've largely agreed on the handling of most matters, but where we haven't, we've maintained collegiality and decorum, respectful of each other's opinions and viewpoints, and keeping an open mind as we consider and discern matters. This board leads by setting an exemplary example that more governing bodies should be so lucky to follow. Each of you has taken your responsibilities seriously and served with intention and purpose. Eileen, I've already addressed you, so I'm going to move to John. It's been a real pleasure serving with you on Second Ward. The past 3 years, it's hard to believe they've gone by. I remember sitting down with you at Hometown when we first were talking about sort of, your onboarding and what you're going to face, and we were kicking around ideas on how we can do things better, and that was really the germination of the Coffee in the Park discussions, which are one of the things that I've really enjoyed a lot in our opportunities to get in front of residents and hear what's on their mind, and just bring that really personal touch to what we do. It's that collaboration on the Second Ward that I've really appreciated, being my cohort with. Rich, it's been a pleasure serving with you on not only BRB, but Public Works and obviously Council. All of these bodies have benefited immensely from the engineering prowess that you've brought with and shared, asking insightful and challenging questions and bringing new ideas and perspectives that may not have otherwise been considered. So thank you very much. And it's been, again, a pleasure having the opportunity now of serving at two together. Nancy, I think you're only giving me credit for one board. Didn't we serve on Deacons together?
Oh my God.
All right, well, thanks.
I forgot about that.
In any event,
Sorry.
so this actually, this actually marks, by my math, now 3 boards. So Deacons, Council, and then obviously Public Works. So it's been a real pleasure knowing you all these years. And not just you, but Kent, who, when I started on ZBA, Kent and I were on that board. So the Novitt family is near and dear to my heart. It's been serving alongside you. You bring wonderful enthusiasm and energy to all our meetings. Alice, Pete, and Nick, who's enjoying warmer climates. While you're our newer board members, and we haven't necessarily served on any specific committees together, each of you have helped contribute to making these last 3 years on council truly enjoyable. I mean, I touched on it before, but I feel like we bring a great collegial atmosphere, and you guys are every bit of a part of helping that making these meetings enjoyable. I look forward to your continued contributions to the board and building on the great foundation that you've helped establish as we welcome a new council. Randy, as our mayor, it's a demanding and largely thankless job, made none the easier by dealing with the contested election for your first 3 years, your first election 3 years ago. I want to personally thank you for bearing through that gauntlet and the steadfastness and pragmatism that you brought to the city as mayor. It has been a pleasure working alongside you these past 3 years. With the new council coming on board, I'm excited for what the next year brings for you and the city, and wishing you all the best. I don't think did I thank my family? I'm thinking I might have skipped over that. Both my kids had just become voting age when I was up for my first election, and they both happened to be home at that time, and it was right before COVID hit, and the family trudged up here to the council chambers where the early voting was being done in the anteroom there. I'm hoping they voted for me. I'm counting on it, but whether or not they did, it was the opportunity to have your kids voting for you in your first election was really poignant, and could not have been more special. Tiffany, for 17 and a half years of me being on different boards and commissions, I really can't thank you enough for giving me the ability to work this into our weekly schedule and banning you for dinners and whatnot, especially at a time that we've, the last 6 years when we were largely empty nesters. But I love you all, Natalie and Tiffany, who are in the back and are shunning me calling them out, but I love you with everything. Scott, I wish you were here. With that, I cede my time back. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Janine, you are up.
Thank you. It's truly hard to believe that 6 years have passed since I took my seat as an alderman here. It's truly been an honor to serve this community, one that I care deeply about and proud to call home. When I reflect back at that time, my boys were just 18 months old and in kindergarten, and here they are. We were navigating the global pandemic. I didn't have a fancy swearing-in ceremony with a crowd. We didn't do that till almost a year later with just my family and Mayor Pantaleon, and Biddy, and Jason. Through it all, this community has showed resilience, strength, and a deep commitment to one another. Today, we stand in a place of tremendous progress, with meaningful investments in infrastructure and an unwavering focus on serving our residents. I've had the privilege of serving in many roles, including Civic Beautification Chair, Environmental Sustainability Chair, Finance Committee Chair, Liaison to CROIA, member of PCA, PPL, Public Works, and Audit. Each of these opportunities has allowed me to learn with purpose, to serve with joy, and to lead with integrity. Values that became a part of me since attending the School of St. Mary and has truly become a way of life for me. Balancing this role alongside being a wife, a mother, managing Lake Forest Flowers, and an active volunteer has been a full and rewarding life. Whether through the School and Church of St. Mary, the Junior Garden Club, PAC 49 Cub Scouts, Purdue University's Agricultural Alumni Board, or even coaching my son's basketball team, all at the same time, I'm busy. But I've always believed in connecting people of all ages, solving problems, and bringing a little more beauty into the world, quite oftenly through flowers. I just have a make it happen attitude. And while this role hasn't always been roses and sunshine, there have certainly been some thorny moments. I have always approached each decision with the best interest of the entire city in mind. Through thoughtful planning and collaboration, we, as a council, have positioned Lake Forest in a truly strong and remarkable place for the future. I'm especially proud of the ways I've been able to contribute from both a personal and professional perspective, whether advocating for family-friendly improvements like turf fields, splash pads, beach playgrounds, boardwalk, downtown parking, cell phone service, or even bringing a horticultural lens to beautify our city. I too would like to thank the Lake Forest Caucus and the residents of Lake Forest, especially Ward 4, for the trust you've placed in me. As a former caucus president 11 years ago with a brand new baby, I continue to be inspired by what makes this city so unique. Volunteers seeking volunteers who understand the value of serving others. That spirit is deeply rooted here, and it's what sets Lake Forest apart from surrounding communities. It's what makes Lake Forest so special. My hope is that we continue to carry that forward, remain resilient in challenges, stay motivated in our purpose, and adaptable as our community evolves. My advice to our incoming alderman, Rosemary and Lloyd: the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And you've already begun to do that just by stepping forward to serve. And I want to thank you for carrying on the work of many councils who came before us. If there's one quality to hold on to above all others, it's the gift of listening. To be an effective alderman, you must truly listen, not just to respond, but to understand. People want to feel heard, and they deserve to know their voices matter. Your responsiveness, whether by phone, email, or text, is not a small detail. It is a foundation of trust and the key to serving this community well. This does not mean you will always agree. Rather, you may show empathy, respectfully disagree, and root decisions in facts and data versus emotion. I want to extend my sincere thanks to our dedicated city staff, many of you here tonight, our city manager, Jason, our mayor, Dr. Tack, and my fellow aldermen. I was able to thank you more personally at our dinner, but your professionalism, respect, and integrity have made this experience both productive and deeply meaningful. I would like to thank my parents, my father, a former 4th Ward Alderman and Larry Temple Award recipient, and my mother, former Department Chair of Pediatrics at Lake Forest Hospital and founding partner of Pediatrust. You both have instilled in me the value of service from a very young age, even when that meant being dragged to meetings. They taught me that giving back is not a one-time act, but it's a culture, one that is built over time. I've always believed that if you want more, you must give more. I see friends here tonight. Your presence and support are so greatly appreciated. Most importantly, I want to thank my family. My husband, Brian, my sons, Michael and Edward. They have been my foundation. They've picked up the pieces at home: yard work, meals, laundry, homework, diapers, bottles. I mean, we're going way back. So that I could serve the city of Lake Forest. Their support has meant everything. And for that, I am truly grateful. I hope that through this experience, my children have seen what it means to lead by example and to give back to something greater than yourself. And while this chapter comes to a close, my commitment to this community does not. Because once you answer the call and choose to serve, it becomes a part of who you are. And Lake Forest will always hold a piece of my heart. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
All right, well, thank you all for those observations, and once again, thanks Ted and Eileen for all your time, effort, and your commitment. You've been terrific aldermen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I believe that brings us to a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. We'll be back in about